Hey, it's Alex Ralka from BoardGameCo, and the week of pain continues. We've had 7th Citadel, we have Machina Arcana, and now we have Dinosaur World and Dinosaur Island, Rawr and Right. I think there's a whole thing with Rawr and Right. There's a different game that had Rawr and Right, so this game has Rawr and Right. Either way, I digress. The point is, we have more Dinosaur Island stuff, or Dinosaur World. You gotta be careful there. This is basically Jurassic Park all over again. We have Jurassic Park, then we have Jurassic World, we have Dinosaur Island, now we have Dinosaur World. Not at all related. Any coincidence, any characters contained within are completely and utterly fictional and coincidental and all that other gibberish and jargon. Point is, Dinosaur World, let's go into it. So, Dinosaur World, what is this? So to begin with, this is not a sequel, this is a spiritual reimagining of the game, and this is basically going to have a lot of similar elements of Dinosaur Island, but not the same game, not by a long shot. It's going to have a lot of that upgrading you see in Dinosaur Island. It's going to have that dinosaur creation where you're using DNA and genetics or whatever to create new dinosaurs. It's going to be a worker placement game, and from there it's going to have those, fun little dinosaur dice with all the extra things you roll. But then from there, the differences start to spread out. The way you actually build your park, the way you have these tiles on the board you're going to be drafting into your park, the way you draft those meeples round to round, and where you put them to trigger different actions. It's going to be very different than Dinosaur Island, although I will say I haven't actually played Dinosaur Island yet, so take all of my opinions with a grain of salt here. But it's basically going to be that same world, just reimagined, re-envisioned, different but similar. So I don't really have a good accurate comparison. Maybe 7th Citadel and 7th Continent? I don't know. Maybe a little different. I don't know. But in any case, Dinosaur Island is Dinosaur World. Darn it, I'm going to keep doing that. Dinosaur World is the newest game from Pandasaurus Games, they've been in business for 8 years now. I have a whole bunch of their games on the shelf. I have a bunch of their small box games. I have Wasteland Express. I've played Machikoro Legacy. I have basically gone through a lot of Pandasaurus games, and honestly, their games so far have done pretty well by me. I mean, for the most part, I've enjoyed and kept their games, so maybe I really should give Dinosaur Island a shot. That time I did mean Dinosaur Island. The one time I probably got it right. In any case, Dinosaur World. See, I got it this time. Dinosaur World, you're going to make dinosaurs, you're going to use your workers to spend the DNA to create dinosaurs, you're going to be moving your jeeps around the park, and there's this whole aspect of excitement and general whatever in the park where as you move around your visitors are going to be excited. You're going to generate excitement, which is almost this currency. It's not very victory points like it was in Dinosaur Island, but rather it's more of a currency you're going to be using to improve your park. But as guests visit the same exhibits or whatnot, that excitement will go down. You'll have to ensure that you don't generate this perfect trifecta of a few areas that work for you. You're going to have to mix things up to keep it going, to keep it moving, so that you can ultimately, build the best park, min-max your way to victory, placing your workers, and hoping that your dinosaurs do not escape from their exhibits and slaughter all your guests. I don't think they have an actual slaughter mechanic, but they do have a dinosaurs, being bad mechanic in the game. And then secondly, from there we have Dinosaur Island Rawr and Right, which don't tell anyone, but I'm far more excited about that one. Dinosaur Island Rawr and Right is a roll and write, roar and write game. In the experience, in the genre of the way they put it is, this is not going to be a lighter, not going to be a lighter roll and write like Silver and Gold, like Railroad Inc. or whatnot. Rather, this is going to be more in the vein of Ganz Schön Clever, and if you look a little bit into it, if you try to figure out what's going on here, it does have that feel. It feels like there's a lot going on here, which could be good or could be bad. Keep that in mind. Complexity does not equal a good game, but complexity can certainly potentially equal a good game. This is a game where you're going to be rolling your dice, you're going to be drafting your dice, you're going to be drawing polyomino shapes, you're going to be taking advantage of the various experts or whatnot on the board to do different things to slowly but surely build the best roll and write game that you possibly can. And that is Dinosaur Island or Dinosaur World. I've lost track. It's so confusing. Dinosaur Island Rawr and Right. You see, they did this whole thing. They have Dinosaur World and Dinosaur Island, and even within the same campaign, they are mixing them up. So I guess I can just say it's their fault. Does that work at all? I don't know. In any case, so with that said, with the quick overview of both those games going on, let's jump into it. Let's go through the pledge levels. Should you back it? Why or why not? What should you be aware of? And all that good stuff. So, pledge levels. Off the bat, we are going to have the pledge level, the $5 Friend of the Dinoverse. Now, this is a good time to mention off the bat that the items in the Pledge Manager will have a higher cost. So if you are interested in these games, if you are interested in this campaign, back now at the full pledge level. Even if you just jump into the pledge level later, you will be backing these at a higher price. I believe they said $5 more. So, you know, if you want it, back it now, I guess. From there, we have the $30, which is going to be $30 for the Dino Island Rawr and Write Savage Edition, which is basically Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write, plus all unlocked Dinosaur Island stretch goals. Next up, we have the Dinosaur World Savage Edition. This is not to be confused with the Extreme Edition, and when I say not to be confused, I mean you, Pandasaurus Games, you should not confuse the two. It is Dinosaur World Savage Edition, which is the $70 for the Dinosaur World board game, plus all unlocked Dinosaur World stretch goals. And then from there, we have the Dinosaur Double Feature Savage Edition, which is both together for a $5 discount. If you are interested in both those games, then for $95 instead of $100, you can get both those games. And then finally, we have the Dinosaur Island, the retailer pledge, where you're going to get 6 copies of the Dinosaur World Extreme Edition. No, it's going to be the Savage Edition, but they got confused. You see, I say Dinosaur Island versus Dinosaur World. They mixed up the Extreme versus Savage Edition in their own campaign, but unfortunately, the nature of Kickstarter, and it's always worth remembering this, you cannot change a pledge level once it has been created. Once you offer backers a pledge level, and it's possible you can change it before you have any backers, but once you have a single backer for sure, you cannot change the pledge levels, which makes sense because you backed something and, well, look at that, we changed what you backed. So it's worth knowing that because we often see in these Kickstarter campaigns, we often see, but just change the pledge level, just edit it, adjust it, you know, make it more clear. You can't. Once you have a pledge level, it is locked in, and so whereas I could theoretically go and edit out this video to remove all instances of me saying Dinosaur Island incorrectly, they can't edit anything, and don't worry, I still won't be editing a thing. But that is the pledge levels for this game, which means the three you're going to want to focus on are the $30 pledge level, the $70 pledge level, and the $95 pledge level. The $95 pledge level, let's get out of the way pretty quickly. If you are interested in both games, back that one because you save $5. Yay! For the other pledge levels, let's go into it because it's not as clear. And let's tackle Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write, I think I have that right, first, and then go from there to Dinosaur World. Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write is coming in at $30 for the game. Now, I am interested in this, don't get me wrong, I am very interested, to the point that now's a good time to mention that both these games will be available on Tabletopia coming soon. So we have 23 days left in the campaign. They'll be coming soon on Tabletopia, hopefully with enough time for everyone to play them, to try them out, because speaking for myself, I very much do want to try it out on Tabletopia, and that's for 2 reasons. One is it's easy and accessible, contrasted with playing a 2-3 hour game on Tabletopia, which is not always easy in a short time frame. A short, quick roll and write should be pretty easy to get to the table, so I plan on trying that one. But additionally, because roll and writes are such an interesting genre, and they have so many different things that can go on for them, but ultimately they're capitalizing on what is currently the new kid on the block, the popular kid on the block, by bringing a roll and write, which I'm trying to find over here, which by bringing a roll and write to the table that will hopefully be good, but may not be. We've just seen this with the new Rome roll and write, where a lot of people are basically saying it's complicated, but it's not necessarily great, and that could be the case here. And as far as the value aspect, right now they're asking $30 for it. There doesn't seem to be any clear translation to MSRP, but there will be a retail edition available of the game. So should you get this for $30? And my answer is, as of now, I would say no. Because if you look back at their previous Kickstarters, and we haven't even talked about the lineage of the whole Dinosaur Island, and we'll get to that stuff, or maybe we won't, I don't know. But the original Dinosaur Island Extreme Edition was $35 for the Extreme Edition. Granted, it came with more extras, but if you want Dinosaur Island from a retailer, it's $23.99. Compared to $35, and this will, granted, if you got it with the rest of the stuff that had more of a free shipping aspect because you're getting it together with Dinosaur Island, but I certainly would not recommend getting Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write by itself. That $30 plus shipping, and shipping is sadly undefined because they basically said shipping's going to be, we're going to aim for $20 or less for people, and depending on which zone you're in. So they don't really have a clear shipping table, so your shipping costs for Dinosaur Rawr and Write are a little bit undefined at this point, and paying $30 plus shipping for a game that will probably be available for $20 down the road is a hard sell. At the same time, there may be exclusives. So for instance, right now we have a Kickstarter exclusive embroidered bag. Speaking for myself, that is not enough for me to say, hey, I'll get it now instead of retail. But you may be different than me, which is good because we're all special and different and unique and all that stuff. But my point is that Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write, as interested as I am in this game, I will be keeping an eye on the campaign to kind of wait and see what else is added to actually make that something that I think is a better buy now. Now, if you are getting it as part of a bundle, if you are spending that extra $25 to get it, plus the shipping is no longer as much of a deal or much of a factor, then I'd be much more inclined to say go for it. At that point, there will likely be more exclusives added before the campaign is over. The $25 is not the worst, especially if you're not paying shipping for it, so I think that will likely be a better back for you. But if you are interested in Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write and nothing else, I would recommend waiting for retail as of now. Obviously, keep an eye on the campaign or subscribe to my channel. I'll cover any updates in my weekly roundup every Monday. I'll cover any updates to the campaign, any adjustments, or to change my value proposition aspect or whatnot. But as of right now, Dinosaur Island Rawr and Write is a wait on its own, and it's a go ahead and back it if you're getting it as part of the larger pledge. Which brings us to the larger pledge. And again, don't get me wrong, I'm very intrigued. I really want to play it. It looks adorable. It looks exactly up my alley. Ganz Clever is one of my favorite roll and writes, which, I mean, I guess just comparing it to Ganz Clever doesn't make it Ganz Clever, but perhaps it will be. In any case, going from there to Dinosaur World. I think I said it right this time. I'm pretty sure I'm getting it. Dinosaur World is a much, well, it's easier really, because Dinosaur World, for the most part, should you back it, I'll jump straight to it. Should you back it is pretty much a probably safe. Now, what I mean by that is there's two aspects to that. The first aspect is just looking at the price alone, $70 for the Dinosaur World Savage Edition. If you look at the last Kickstarter for the Dinosaur Island Extreme Edition, different games, keep that in mind, but the Dinosaur Island Extreme Edition was $85, and this is $70 for that same thing. But more importantly, and they're obviously different games, different things involved in those games, different components, different everything, but it's in that same ballpark range. Dinosaur Island did hold its value on the secondary market, so if you bought Dinosaur Island and you changed your mind, you were able to sell it above what you paid for it on the secondary market, and even now you still can. It's a little bit inconsistent to be sure, but if you look at sales even in the past 2 months, you'll find some people selling at a slight loss and some people selling their copies at more than they paid for it, even now, which is significantly later, significantly down the road. So I believe that based on Dinosaur Island alone, it is a safe back in that sense. The flip side, and it's a big flip side, is Dinosaur World is not Dinosaur Island. It's not. As much as we are intrigued by it, as much as it's cool, and as much as speaking personally for myself, I am far more pulled in by the artwork. I never really was into the whole Dinosaur Island thing, despite the fact that it is far more appealing to me on a visual level, despite the fact that the gameplay looks more appealing from someone who hasn't played either. It doesn't necessarily have the lineage or just the validation that Dinosaur Island does. Dinosaur Island is a 7.8 on BoardGameGeek. That is nothing to sneeze at. It's 126 ranked. That's just shy of the top 100 in BoardGameGeek. That is a game that has staying power. This was their second Kickstarter. Between the two Kickstarters, they had 5,600 backers on their first Kickstarter, bringing $500,000, which is insane. Good for them. This is, good for them. Solid job. And then 18,000 backers and $2 million in their second Kickstarter. Dinosaur Island was a smash hit that people liked. And yes, there is the whole Team Dinogenics or Team Dinosaur Island, but whichever team you are on, there is no denying that Dinosaur Island is a game that people liked. So the idea that it holds its value even years down the road shouldn't be that surprising when you're talking about exclusive components. It shouldn't be that surprising. It's kind of just par for the course on a well-rated game with exclusive content. But Dinosaur World does not, I think I said it right, Dinosaur World does not have that guarantee at all. And something worth noting, and no disrespect meant whatsoever to Brian Lewis here, but it's worth noting Jonathan Gilmour is no longer involved in the project. And Jonathan Gilmour is from the two of them who are involved in Dinosaur Island, Jonathan Gilmour did have more other games that, at least speaking for myself, were games that I was interested in. So we don't even have the same designers. Again, Brian Lewis is involved, so that definitely is worth something, for sure, but I just don't know who brought what to the table in terms of the game. I don't know who brought anything. Now, I will note, by the way, because I just kind of subtly insulted Brian Lewis, I will note, reading the comments in this Kickstarter, I actually am not that worried about it. It's worth noting, it's worth being aware of, but I'm not that worried. If you read the comments, it does seem like they're doing everything right in terms of the degree of playtesting, the degree of back and forth, of design iterations of what they're doing. This is not in any way meant to be a dig on Brian Lewis. It's meant to be something to be aware of, that it's the same game, the same company, but half of the team, differences to the game. It will hopefully be good. And again, I'm very, very interested in the game, not get me wrong. And the fact that they're putting it up on Tabletopia is always a good sign. I love it when companies put their Kickstarter campaigns put Kickstarter games up on Tabletopia. It is a sign of faith in their product. It is a sign that people like the game, that enough people like the game, that enjoyed the game, that playtesting went well, that they're putting it up for the world to see. Generally, on a Kickstarter, if you are selling a bad game, don't make a Tabletopia simulator or tabletop simulator or any of those things, because people will find out it's a bad game. You don't need a lot of people. You need a handful of people who play your game and then start reporting back in different forums that it was not really for me, and this was flawed and I like that better about Dinosaur Island. It takes a degree of confidence in your product that is hopefully confidence backed up by playtesting to actually put up a Tabletopia, tabletop simulator, any of those things. But again, keep in mind, there's no guarantees here. Now, obviously, there are reviews. You should go ahead and watch the reviews. You should check out Rawr, Man vs. Meeple. They have different reviews out there in terms of the content that they are doing, or the changes from Dinosaur Island. But overall, both things are true here. In terms of the should you back it, this is very likely a safe back. It is very likely, for sure, if you get rid of it in the first 3 months. You know my thing, if you watch my channel, in general, if you're on the fence, as soon as you get your game, play it, see if it's for you, and then sell it if it's not, as while the market is hot, while people are interested and excited about the game. Go ahead and sell it if it's not for you. And if it is for you, then just stick around for the ride and all the expansions and spend more money, because games, I mean, I love games, don't get me wrong, I really, really do. But in any case, that is ultimately the should you back it. It is a game that I believe will hold its value. That $70 pledge level will almost certainly be able to sell it for more with all the exclusives that they're giving. And let's go through some of those exclusives. So offhand, what we have already, and there will be more because we're at the start of this campaign and we have plenty of time to go. But as of right now, we have a bunch of these screen-printed Jeeps. We have these screen-printed dinosaurs, more being added. Like, this Stegosaurus wasn't here 2 days ago. So, I mean, the whole campaign wasn't here 2 days ago. The Stegosaurus wasn't here yesterday. We have the Kickstarter exclusive first-player marker. We have those shiny deluxified metal coins. And I don't know about Dinosaur Island, but I mean, I do know about Dinosaur Island. These coins look so much prettier than Dinosaur Island's coins. I mean, Dinosaur Island's coins were nice, by the way. I did like them. But these are even prettier. They looked all ridged and shiny, and they show a dinosaur on one side, but they have different shapes so that even if you're looking at it different directions, you still know what monetary value it is. All good things, although technically it does have the monetary value, just smaller. In any case, and then we have this expansion tile, and it's worth noting there are two different things here. There's timed exclusives, and then there's Kickstarter exclusives. The timed exclusives are basically available on Kickstarter, as well as available in their shop down the road, or other available things down the road, but not retail. And then there's straight up Kickstarter exclusive, which is, like it sounds, straight up Kickstarter exclusive. And then lastly, I'll note, because I saw there were some comments about this, but there were a lot of people who, or not a lot, there were a small amount of people who were upset about the fact that they couldn't get Dinosaur Island Extreme Edition during this campaign, and Pandasaurus already addressed that. They addressed it in their FAQ, but basically, they switched factories in between the campaigns, and getting all those assets, redoing the molds, all that stuff is not just a simple, hey, we'll reprint stuff. It is actually a significant amount of work, and would potentially detract from this campaign. It would potentially detract because you now have to focus that project, that team, that factory on different things, and they wanted all the attention to be on Dinosaur World. They have said very clearly and definitively, we may or may not build more Dinosaur Island Extreme stuff in the future. So no guarantees there, which means that secondary market will still keep up. And that's basically it. That is basically Dinosaur World. It is overall a safe back for Dinosaur Island Rawr and Right. Either keep an eye on the campaign to see what they are adding, or if you are backing it as part of the larger pledge, then I think it's worth it. As of right now on its own, I'd probably hold off, just using Dinosaur Island as a reference point, as well as the lack of any exclusive past the bag. The bag I just don't think is enough to carry the value on its own. But Dinosaur World itself is a fairly safe back. Jump on in with confidence, try it, see if it's for you, and if it's not, turn around and sell or trade it while the market is hot. And until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo. I hope you enjoyed this incredibly painful week with all these expensive Kickstarters. I wonder if there's a thing as like the most expensive Kickstarter week in general, because I mean, it's not the most expensive Kickstarter, but between Seventh Citadel, Planet Apocalypse, Dinosaur Island, can we count Dinosaur World? I did it again. We can't count Hero Quests because it's not in Kickstarter. It's just, we're loaded up with tons and tons of things, and there's more to come. Until next time, I'm Alex Radcliffe from BoardGameCo, and I hope you have a good one.